I am going to use Iowa State women's gymnastics as an example of why Jamie Pollard most likely does not need to be the head of a major athletic department. Now, I am sure that Jamie Pollard does his best. I am not saying that he is incompetent. I do say that he blames athletes when he should be putting the blame at his own desk. Somebody needs to put a little sign or something on his desk that says the buck stops here. Because you're going to hear from him in this video. You're going to hear his own words. He basically blames the athletes for what happened at Iowa State women's gymnastics. Now let's also think about this. Iowa State women's basketball went into a nosedive, and unlike Tennessee, that looked like it gone into a nosedive, at this point, Kim Caldwell can field a basketball team. Okay, it will only be 6 players, but she's still getting her basketball team the way she wants her basketball team for next year. The only player that Iowa State Cyclones women's basketball has picked up has been a transfer from Kent State. I forget her name, but that's not looking good. Jamie Pollard, okay, it has been at the head of the Iowa State athletic department since 2005. He started out as an athlete, so he should understand something about this. He is a CPA, he should understand money. He was the associate athletic director for the St. Louis Billikens, then went to Maryland as an associate AD, was associate and deputy AD from 1998 to 2005 at Wisconsin, and now he's at Iowa State. And in that time, honestly, I can't tell you that much good. Iowa State football, not bad. Their basketball programs, not bad. But you saw what happened with the women's basketball program. And they just got rid of their women's gymnastics program. Now, PJ Kindler has made a statement where she just does not take to him blaming the women athletes. Now, KJ Kindler is at Oklahoma. Yes, she was one of the first women's gymnastics competitors that made it to that got high accolades while at Iowa State. She then became an assistant coach, then the head coach at Iowa State. And because they wouldn't fix necessary things in the gymnastics, she left. According to Pollard, oh, we did everything that we could. Never mind that since she's left, they've never fixed the training facility for Iowa State women's gymnastics, and people continue, or women continuously get hurt. That is all on the athletic director. It's not on the coaches, it's on the athletic director. Uh, Jamie Pollard claimed that Kindler's departure stemmed from disagreement surrounding the university's investment in the program. Kindler reportedly advocated for a new practice facility, which Pollard indicated the university improvement plans did not meet her time frame. Yeah, it didn't meet her time frame to the point that they're still using the same training facility from when she left in 2006, and women were getting hurt. We need to pay attention to this. Jamie Pollard is responsible for this, and in all honesty, it should he needs to be investigated. But we're going to cover this from the women's gymnastics perspective because I think this highlights why he needs to be investigated. Now let's get into it. I am trying to get Academy Sports to choose me to be a sponsor. I love me some Academy Sports. Now, these folks got everything that you need if you're into sports, if you're into going camping, fishing, even if you like golf. Now, I'm now focusing only on college sports. So, I looked through there as a Tennessee fanatic. I went to look to see if they had stuff that I like. And they do. They have all kinds of stuff. If you got a little sports team that you're needing to get all the equipment for, they got it. So, hey Academy, pick me. Before we get into the crux of this video, hit like, hit subscribe if you like college sports, because I do college sports, primarily college football, college women's gymnastics. Do a little basketball and other sports on occasion, but that's what I do, college. Also, General Robert Neyland, former University of Tennessee head football coach for decades, had 7 maxims to win any game, but they can also help you if you apply them correctly to your life. The second one is play for and make the breaks. When one comes your way, score. That is a maxim that can be also applied to your life. Look for those breaks and take it.
Greetings, Cyclone fans. For the last 21 years, I've had the pleasure to serve as your Director of Athletics. For the majority of that time, the experience being your leader has been enjoyable, rewarding, and really fun. However, similar to other leadership positions, there are moments, there are situations, and there are days when being the leader isn't very enjoyable and certainly not a lot of fun. Our recent situation with our women's gymnastics program is one of those times. Many of you are aware that we recently suspended the 2026 gymnastics season. The reason for that decision was the result of some unresolvable conflicts amongst individual student athletes, members of the coaching staff, and parents. Ultimately, the student athletes felt the conflicts were so problematic that they didn't believe they could finish the season. As a result, our staff had no other viable alternative but to suspend the remainder of the season. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time we've had issues with our women's gymnastics program. In 2018, we had to engage Tim Day, faculty athletics rep and former chair of our athletics council, to do a complete review of the program as a result of some issues that were taking place at that particular time. The findings of that study helped alleviate temporarily the issues that we were experiencing. Unfortunately, in 2023, similar issues rose again. And our legal office on campus engaged an outside law firm from Minnesota that had experience dealing with those type of issues to come in and do an independent evaluation of our gymnastics program. Both the 2018 and 2023 studies included interviews with former gymnasts, current gymnasts, our coaching staff, and members of our support staff that work closely with our gymnastics program. The 2023 study ultimately resulted in our making a complete change in coaching staff. And here we are once again in 2026 at a similar intersection. Now let me be very clear. Student-athlete experience is at the core of what our department takes great pride in. Our coaches, our support staff, and our administration are all committed to making sure our student-athletes have an incredible experience while they're a student at Iowa State. Whenever issues arise, we look to try to resolve those issues very quickly in order to prevent our student-athletes from not having a great experience. Unfortunately, our continued inability by our department to provide our women's gymnastics team members that same level of experience that the other 17 sports are receiving is disappointing and very concerning. We do not see those type of issues in our 17 other sports. As a result, I asked our senior leadership team to meet with those individuals in our department that work really closely with our gymnastics program and make a recommendation to me about what we should do going forward. Our leadership team has recommended to me that we discontinue our women's gymnastics program and redeploy those resources into another women's sport that provides equal or maybe even more opportunities for female athletes. Now, those of you that know me well have heard me say many a times during the past 2 decades, I never want to be a director of athletics at a school that has to discontinue a sport. Unfortunately, that's the position I now find myself in. It's one of those times that being the leader isn't very enjoyable. It's certainly not fun. I've accepted the recommendation of our staff. I've spoken with the leadership of the university, and we are all on the same page that this is the right decision for our athletics program and for our student athletes. As a result, we have met with our coaches and informed them that their contracts will not be renewed. We also have met with the student athletes and told them we'll do everything we can to help them enter the transfer portal and be able to find a new home to compete as a gymnast if they so choose. We have also said we will work with them and the NCAA to try to get back this year of eligibility for them. We've also told the student athletes and the incoming recruits, if any of them would like to stay at Iowa State and pursue their academic goals, we'll continue to honor their athletic scholarship and provide them all the services they would have received if they'd been a student athlete. Now, I know many of you will immediately say, well, what sport? What I want to share with you tonight, we have not spent any time thinking about that. We've had our entire focus on our gymnasts and the gymnastics program. There'll be plenty of time in the coming weeks and coming months to be able to fully vet what program and when that program should begin. I also want to say, this is not a financial decision. This is a student-athlete experience decision. Adding another women's sport will probably cost equal or more than what we're already spending on the gymnastics program. This is about student-athlete experience. I'd also like to say this to the alums of our gymnastics program. I understand the pain, the anger, and the disbelief that this is happening. If my alma mater was having discussions about dropping track and cross country, I'd feel the same way. It's only natural. I'd be disappointed if you didn't feel that way. I wish there were words I could share with you that would make this all better, but there aren't. What I will tell you is, when I started in 2005, Iowa State had already eliminated men's baseball, men's swimming, men's tennis, and men's gymnastics. And over the last 2 decades, I've had many opportunities to interact with alums of those 4 programs. And yes, the scars are deep, the calluses are thick. But during the last 20 years, we've welcomed back athletes in all 4 of those sports. We've honored teams that had great achievements, and we've inducted baseball players, men's gymnasts, men's tennis players, and men's swimmers into the Athletics Hall of Fame. And I hope over time, all the great alums of our gymnastics program will be able to heal through this process and have the same experience as the athletes in those 4 programs. In closing, I would just say, we are sorry. We are sorry that it's come to this, but we also know it's the right decision for Iowa State University, the right decision for our athletics program, and most importantly, the right decision for the experiences of our student athletes. Thank you for your understanding, and thank you for your time. Go Cyclones.
Now let's talk about, let's start this off with, this is coming from KCCI Channel 8 in Des Moines. Former Iowa State gymnast Hannah Loyam said she felt numb after seeing the message describing it as profound loss, talking about what you just saw. It felt like I was mourning the death of a person, and it just felt like my entire world was shut down. Loyam competed for the Cyclones from 2022 through her graduation last May. Loyam said the program also dealt with facility challenges during her time at Ames, calling the practice space behind the times compared to other areas on campus. It was very outdated compared to a lot of other facilities on campus. She suggested that the environment added to the strain on athletes trying to compete at a high level. Private coach Spencer Johnson, who works with some gymnasts who still have college eligibility, said the decision has left athletes scrambling to reassess the future. Okay, so let's talk about what I was talking about with KJ Kindler, who, by the way, you might as well describe as in women's gymnastics, she is a Nick Saban, a Dawn Staley, a Pathead Summit. This is how important she is. She's less talking to Steve Spurrier. Haley Young, one of the most decorated gymnasts in Iowa State history and former member of the coaching staff, offered a direct rebuttal to Pollard's claims almost 2 decades later. When Young made the difficult decision to leave her role with the program in 2025, she claimed she offered constructive recommendations. The training environment was inadequate, Young wrote in February 2026. Young emphasized the program had trained in the same facility for over 30 years, the same facility Kindler advocated upgrading in 2006. There was no air conditioning. There was no trampoline beneath the pits, which are common in modern facilities. By the way, a landing pit that they were using for these young ladies that were practicing high jumps and everything like that. Normally, there's a trampoline underneath of it. There was foam squares or something, and then at the very bottom, which was shallow by all gymnastics standards, was concrete. What should have been a trampoline was concrete. We are disappointed to see KJ Kindler leave Iowa State. Pollard said in 2006, we offered her everything they could reasonably offer. In search of a more supportive athletic administration, Kindler left her alma mater to lead Oklahoma Sooners women's gymnastics team. Within a decade, the Sooners became the undisputed powerhouse in women's collegiate gymnastics, winning 7 national titles in just over a decade. While championships rolled into Norman in droves, the Cyclones, once one of the NCAA's most promising programs under KJ Kindler, rapidly entered a tailspin. On March 3rd, Iowa State Athletics announced that it would be discontinuing the program. Former athletes and coaches pointed to multiple issues within the program, namely the glaring inexperience of the program's final head coach. When ISU Athletics announced its hiring Ashley Miles Grigg in 2023, the gymnastics community reaction was mixed. Though Miles Grigg's accomplishments as an athlete are unmistakable, including multiple NCAA titles and international appearance for Team USA, the former All-American athlete had no formal coaching experience. Ryan Snyder, former associate head coach under Miles Grigg, openly criticized Iowa State's hiring practices after the program's discontinuation went public. Shame on the entire ISU athletic department. All of you had to do was take accountability for hiring the wrong person, Snyder wrote on social media. How many athletes, coaches, and parents went to the administration and told you about Ashley Miles Grigg? You hired a used car salesman to lead a storied D1 program. In what other sport does hiring someone with zero experience make sense, he added. Former athletes also reported on a stark lack of support and engagement from the university's athletic leaders. In a statement shared on social media, former ISU gymnast Hannah Loyam, well, I've already covered Hannah Loyam. Accountability and experience matters, KJ Kindler wrote to the Des Moines Register on March 4th. And when those elements are absent, it is not the athletes who should bear the consequences. While Kindler and her number 1 ranked Sooners prepare to compete in their 8th NCAA championship next month, the former Iowa State coach and athlete could not ignore this week's events. After all, Kindler seemed to read the writing on the wall back in 2006. The This outcome follows a troubling pattern of chronic underinvestment, unsafe and inadequate facilities, and a failure to provide the consistent oversight and care that student athletes deserve. Kindler continued her statement, reiterating similar claims she made in 2006. These women deserve better. The alumni deserve better. The sport deserves better. Hey, KJ Kindler is the person to know. You know, if you've come here thinking, what is this person talking about Iowa State for? He barely covers the Big 12, which, in all honesty, I'll admit it. I like BYU to a degree. Uh, I covered other teams in the Big 12, but I'm not predominantly a Big 12 kind of person. UCF, I just covered some things about them, but Iowa State has got a coach that I actually have a lot of appreciation for. Football coach, Johnny Majors. He coached at Iowa State. He coached at Tennessee. He played at Tennessee. He should have won the Heisman at Tennessee. I still think that was stolen from him, but hey, I'm a Tennessee guy, and well, sometimes we get a little ornery about those things. I've met quite a few Iowa State fans over the years. I have had to do work in Iowa, and I've been to the Iowa State facilities, and I like what I the passion of Iowa State Cyclones fans. I do. I like every one of their passions for sports. Iowa State is, one of those universities when it comes to sports that I enjoy hearing from. So to see that Jamie Pollard, before he even came on, that they got rid of programs, why would you get rid of baseball? Think about that for a minute. Baseball is one of those easy sports to keep around. Baseball, softball, those two sports easy to keep around. They're really fun sports. People enjoy it. Football has been not bad. Basketball, not bad. But then you take a look at what's going on with the women's basketball team right now. For that matter, you just heard what I just said about Iowa State women's gymnastics. The Iowa State Cyclones community should take a look at what's going on with their athletic director. I mean, seriously, how can he not be working towards raising money to get better facilities? You're literally putting women at risk. During the summer, they had no air conditioning. During the winter, there were many times that they didn't have heat. What in the world is he doing to these young athletes? Men, women, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you're doing this to your athletes, it is saying that you don't care. You're only focusing on two sports. Most schools do until you get into it. Oklahoma hired KJ Kindler. They've had 7, probably going to be an 8th one this year, national championships in women's gymnastics. You take a look at LSU. Women's gymnastics there, they go hog wild for beans and barbecue when it comes to their women's gymnastics program. This is what's going on in sports. You have too many of these athletic directors that don't understand what they need to do. Okay, he was an athlete. Okay, he's a CPA. It doesn't seem that he understands how to raise money. It doesn't seem that he cares about the athletes, even though he was an athlete himself. There's way too much going on here that I really do think that there should be an investigation by an outside source to look into what exactly has been going on because he's been there for 21 years. The buck stops at his desk. This has been Paul with Redneck Sports. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. Hey, folks, before you leave, If you're can't become a member via my YouTube channel, which that's for my thinker. I've also got sports. I've got a Patreon. If you really, really want to help me out, I would be much appreciated. But hey, hitting like, hit subscribe, hit commenting, all those things really help me out. Have a good day.